Okay, start the meeting.
Okay, the meeting is started. So the purpose of this meeting is to review the newest indicative pricing that we received today, and talk about potential futures. And then we have, I believe, Eloise, the idea is that we're potentially voting, or we're going to decide Thursday. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's how I understood it. That's why I want it recorded so that Jason and Margaret can review it.
Excellent. Okay, great. I guess so. Can we look at the pricing that was sent earlier? So I have it. I can share it if everyone's okay with that.
Actually, this is Mark from Colonial Power. Given
Yep.
that it's indicative pricing, there's some proprietary information on today's pricing. I could send another sheet with the suppliers' names taken off.
The one I have is just got supplier 1, supplier 2, supplier
Perfect.
3.
That's exactly the one you could share. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Let me see here. Where is it? Hang on a sec. Sorry, I think it closed out on my computer. Let me just open it back up again quickly. All right, so let me see. There we go. All right, does everybody have this?
I do now.
Okay,
Yes.
great. All right, so as a committee, something that we all agree on is that we would like to continue to move forward with the 100% green. That's something we've talked about in the past, and we've all come to an agreement on it. So to me, that means that the second row down here is what we should be discussing at the moment. Now, Mark, the last time that we had our meeting and you called in and we talked, the idea was that you thought that the pricing was going to start coming down, and we're seeing it still coming up.
Yeah.
Do you have some, give us your take on it, please.
Absolutely. So that was my hope, that it would be coming down. It has continued to climb higher as time has moved on. And don't we ask for indicative pricing, and Hurricane Ida smashes into the Gulf. And there's a lot of what I'll call some, very conservative pricing that you're looking at here. Unfortunately, given the time frame we have, there's not a lot we can do from that standpoint. Some of the things that I think we can do from the pricing standpoint is, right now the meats is 49%. If you wanted to stay with 100%, maybe we don't do 100%. We add like 51%, or believe it or not, next year the amount of renewables for the basic, I'll call it the same as the basic service, is 51%. So you only add another 49%, whether that's a National Wind product or a Maine Hydro product, something that might be a little bit more economical. But right now, pricing is about as high as we've seen it probably in the last since 2018, and some of that has to do with, as I mentioned, Hurricane Ida, that situation. Again, a new administration not as favorable to oil and gas that have been in the past, and we're seeing also on the rec side. When you last went out for the National Wind product, it was about $1. It's now literally around $5 or $6. So it's actually quite a bit higher than it has been in the past. That's why I was giving some options. There might be some other options that are still, I'll call them even more local than the National Wind product, and even a little bit of pricing. So if you take a look, just to show you how much that's actually come up, I'm just going to look at the meets RPS And just go to the 36 month, it's just easy to see. You look at supplier 2, it's around 11.8, and you're about 6 mils higher, kind of. And even if you go over to the next one, you know, the 12 supplier 3 in the 36 months, it's the 12.031 for the 36 month. And then if you go down to the 100% National Wind, it's another, you know, it's 12.621. So it's every bit of 6 mils higher. So you might be able to look at something that may be a little bit more economical and still a little bit more local. It would be a existing, it's not a Mass Class 1 or anything, but it would be an existing hydro product out of Maine. You know, they have some old dams up there that maybe they're $3 or 3 mils or 0.003 rather than 0.006, given the pricing that we're looking at here. The other thing I'd like to mention is this pricing does not have any adder in it for the town of Berlin. And that needs to be added to any pricing that you see here.
And that, what is that again? That's 0.00 what?
0.002.
Okay. So if we're looking at the 100% wind, we'll just say, and then what you have highlighted here, the 0.12481,
Yes,
that would be 0.12681.
that is a correct statement. And anything, just, it's been a long time. I know we have been through this, but in case anyone else is watching, everything that's highlighted in the orange is the low price for that term across the kind of across the board. I just wanted to make sure. So in that 12.481 for supplier 2 in the 36 month, we would need to add 0.002. To your point, exactly correct. It would be 0.12681, which again, given where pricing is, I'm not certain I'd recommend something out that far, because we're kind of locking in some longer term pricing at these higher prices. I would try to see if we could go short if it was possible, but I would want to make sure that the town was ready to execute. So there's some bad news in this, right? So we were hoping the market came down, kind of ran against us. Unfortunately, we have until about September 13th to sign something, unless we wanted to use the existing supplier. That could give us some more time into October. And just let me explain. So if we stay with the existing supplier, there isn't a load asset and there's no testing and things like that that need to go on between now and the November meter reads. All they need to do is implement a rate change. That being said, I'm not certain whether or not it's the what the town's looking to do, right? So it would require us to, I'm just taking a look. If we did a 12 month, it's all right around the 13-cent mark. I can almost guarantee you that you'd be under this winter, but almost certainly over next summer. And I'm not certain the whole contract is under grid or not for 12 months, but it would allow you, should the market, let's say we have another warm winter, should the market come off, we've seen it come off in late November and early December over the last 18, 19, the last time we saw these kind of spikes. So we would be asking the town to sign another contract for 2 or 3 years after that to kind of lock in that lower price. But there's no guarantees on that either. Believe it or not, the heat of the hurricane season is just upon us right now. This is a high time, late August, September, when the waters are warmest down in the Caribbean and things really start to roll. And your guess is as good as mine whether we have a polar vortex or not, whether it gets cold or not. But you're probably going to need a weather event to bring it in the other direction, meaning there's no more hurricanes that come out of this. And come November, December, depending on what guidance is out of NOAA, if they're saying it's going to be a warm summer, a warm winter or not, it really depends on that. We have had a rather humid, I wouldn't say it was a tremendously hot, but a tremendously humid summer. So depending on how this winter goes, will drive those prices, because they're expecting high prices. Right now, everyone's hedging their bets. We did not get the polar vortex, but wow, did it hit Texas last year? So people are still pricing that in. But we take your direction on what your green product would be. If it was going to be, if you're indifferent, we may ask for, on final pricing on Thursday for something that was a little bit more economical. I think we could find something local, but I don't know if you have a preference on wind, because I don't think all the wind would be, most of it is qualified as a mass class 1, which would be much higher than this. But we might be able to find some mass class 2s, or what they're called as main class 2s, or main hydro, existing facilities around 2 or 3 mills. I think is what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can speak for myself when I say that it wasn't the wind that, being wind specifically, it was the fact that it was a green product. And Berlin is a green community. Eloise, what's your opinion on that one?
I would like to stay with green, and the other thing that people respond to is price.
Yeah.
I will have to go with the shorter term. I like a 3-year term, but if it's not going to be, it's not going to be.
So Mark, you cut out just a little bit. Like I'm having connection issues at my office here. What term did you recommend? Was it 12?
Yeah, well, I'm just seeing the 12, and as I mentioned, that would be supplier 3. And, again, we'd have to see if we could get some other green in there. But right now it's a 13.7, which is your current price. And I want to make sure everyone in Berlin is 11.1. It's a 2.5 cent jump. And, I expect that 13.7. So this is just to give you, I want to give you the dynamics behind this. National Grid had the ability to buy, not the ability, they had to buy in March, and the market has almost doubled since March. So they have a buy that's going to keep their winter pricing down. I expect that their pricing to be, I don't know if you can see it, but over in it's a yellow box in cell, what would be Q11. We have it at 12.7, but I expect that to be a little bit above that. And the reason is, last winter price was 12.3. I just haven't updated it, but I expect it to be every bit of a penny and a half higher than this price this coming year. But I'm not certain where we'll be. They go out on September 8th for final pricing. The bad news or the good news is we won't know that price until around September 17th or so. And if it's high, a real high price, we may not know it until the following. They have up to 10 days to deliver that price till like September 22nd. But we don't have a lot of time left to make a decision as far as actual pricing if we want to use the marketplace. We do have a little bit more time if you are willing to commit to the current supplier, only because they have less process. All they need to do is implement a rate change. They don't have to set up and go through all the administrative issues of a new supplier. But you might have an extra month, but I still don't see that changing the pricing enough. Like, we're not going to see the pricing come down. Winter won't have started. And, just because, we won't have seen the end of what I'll call the hurricane season to say, yeah, we don't have to price in, any more weather events.
No. Well, what I'm wondering is if I'm looking at supplier 2 right now, and even supplier 3 is even looks like it might not be bad. Is that or even supplier 1, I guess, is the 6-month term, and then that puts us into the summer. Is it possible that by summer we could start seeing some more favorable prices? I mean, go 6 months and then see what the 36 look like at.
Yeah, so that would be nice if we could grab that price, but let me explain. So what you have here, the 6-month price, starting in November through April 30th, or the April meter reads, is above that. It's 576 and almost 16 cents all the way across, 17 on supplier 5. And then what we asked for is two split 6 months, so it would be much like National Grid, but you'd have 16.5 for this winter and then 10.9 for this summer.
So what
Or-
is the, so what is this number that I'm, oh, okay, I wasn't looking at the dates, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's from the March, that you couldn't get just that March price. You'd have to sign
Yeah,
up
yeah.
for the,
No, I got you.
okay. So.
Yeah, so then when you looked at, if you're looking at those, then like the 13 is the average of the two.
Exactly. It's a load shaped average, but that's exactly correct. Exactly
Okay.
correct.
Now, now I know we have a meeting on Thursday.
Yes.
However, you know, if we waited the week or two, how much risk are we taking for those numbers, those final numbers to come in?
We
I'm
can't.
seeing Denise shake her head.
Yeah, the problem we have is like Mark mentioned with National Grid, right? So in order to get set up for the town's November meter read, you need to be in the system. All the onboarding documentation by the new supplier needs to be in the system by the 13th of September. So National Grid requires that document packet from the new supplier, but the
Okay.
week before that, which is basically next week. So we probably have a couple more days past Thursday, and I know we have the holiday next weekend, but we don't have, you know, past when National Grid goes out to kind of play with,
Okay.
unfortunately.
No, that's fine. I mean, to me, it's looking like we're coming up against, like, this is the best we have for now. And
It is unfortunately right
Yeah.
now kind of the best. Now, like I said, if you wanted to stay with your incumbent supplier, I don't think you're going to see a penny, down. Because I just don't see anything driving the market down right now, but it may settle down enough over the next couple of days that you might see a couple of mils, 2 or 3 mils lower than this. I don't know. I have been at work today, but I don't know what the final numbers from either are. I know when I was on my way in, there was like 1 million people in Louisiana without power. I just don't know what effect that's going to have on the electricity markets in
Right.
Iceland.
now, if no, we have a meeting on Thursday, that would be because we would request executable pricing for Thursday, correct?
Correct.
And then we still have an option to say no if we don't like what we see, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I am fine with asking for executable pricing. For obviously we'll have options, right? We'll still see this table of like the 6, 12, 18 months.
So the answer is yes. I'd like to just ask one question because we might be able to simplify. If you're saying, hey, I really want it to be 100%, maybe we get rid of the mass class 1, the 5%. If that's not something, additional that you're looking for, we could say, we're going to get you 100% National Wind and maybe 100%, a main class 2 or a mass class 2 product. It's still renewable. It wouldn't necessarily be, the greenest of the green, if you will, but it would still be 100% renewable. Try to get it, see if we can't find something that's a little bit more economically easy on the eye, if you will, as well as the pocketbook.
Yeah, so can you present us with that and with the 100% green? That way, when we meet on Thursday, we can review and make a decision.
Yes.
Okay,
Steve, if it's okay with you, we'll take off the bottom 4 and add that in. So the mass requirement plus 5% plus 10%.
yeah, I don't, we, as a committee, we've never discussed those anyway, we want to stay on the green end of things.
Okay,
Um,
we'll take
So
those
we'll-
off and add what Mark was talking about. Yep.
Eloise, how do you feel about that approach?
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
I have one question. I just want to put it out there. It is a carbon-free product, and one of the suppliers might be able to deliver some of them. Is nuclear off the table or no?
I don't think I've ever discussed it. Eloise, did you discuss it when 2.5 years ago when you signed for the last one?
We've never discussed that.
Leave
Yeah.
it off then.
Yeah, I would leave it off. I mean,
Could you put one on just so that we could get I mean, if we haven't talked about it in the past, that's okay. But if that's the future, then we need to be aware of it.
I don't know that it's going to be the future, but it is part of the renewable portfolio standard currently. Stuart, I don't want to be throwing you under the bus, but it is part of the clean energy standard at this time.
Well, then put it in.
Yeah, I mean, the prices for those certificates are comparable to the hydro that Mark was speaking about the same price.
okay, yeah, go ahead, present this with, I mean, really,
Okay.
with some, and it'll give us something to discuss.
Excellent. So we'll pull that together for Thursday. And I apologize. I just didn't look and see what time it was on my calendar for Thursday, but we'll certainly.
It's
be on
2
time.
o'clock.
2:00. Yes, we'll certainly, and it's another Zoom, so we'll certainly be ready to go for 2:00. And what we're going to try to do is similar to today. Pricing is due at 11. Denise will send out an email around after we check all the prices and make sure everything's in the form that you're looking at here, probably by noon. And then you'll have a couple of hours to preview it prior to us, discussing it at 2.
Okay, so I set the meeting today. Did you receive a meeting invite, or do I need to forward a meeting invite on to you?
It was sent over to us. We have a Zoom call for 2:00.
Okay, great.
On
I just wanted to
Thursdays.
make sure you had it on your calendar.
We do, yes.
All right, so unless you have anything else for us, I'm prepared to adjourn the meeting. Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
I do not.
All right, I move to adjourn the meeting at 3:30 PM on August 30th.
Second, and stay safe.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your time. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.